Tonight on the NTV Evening News Hour. A woman is dead after a collision on the Trans-Canada Highway near Whitburn. The NDP calls on the Premier to address misinformation about access to children's health records.
My fear is that in the announcement that in the rush to try and fix the problem, you might end up doing more harm than good.
And towns in Labrador welcomed the government's promise of new wildfire supports.
They saw firsthand why we kept asking for this since 2014, that this was a very important piece of infrastructure that was taken from us.
And as you can see, the alert board lit up with Thunder Watch. We'll take a look out into the sky and see if we can catch one in the action tonight. We'll do it all together as well. Talk about that wind, the rain, where's it going, where is it coming from, all that and more coming up.
The award-winning NTV Evening News Hour with Tony Marie Wiseman, Michael Connors, and your weather forecast with Ryan Harding.
Good evening. We begin with tragic news. A 71-year-old woman has died after a two-vehicle collision on the Trans-Canada Highway.
It happened on Tuesday afternoon near Whitburn. The RCMP responded to the collision between a car and an RV just before 2 o'clock near the Route 80 interchange. The driver of the car was pronounced dead at the scene. Her passenger was taken to hospital with serious injuries. The driver and passenger of the RV were assessed at the scene. To respect the privacy of the deceased, police are releasing no further details at this time. The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner has been engaged. The cause of that collision remains under investigation.
Two youths were injured in an ATV fire in Cormarmac on Tuesday evening. Just before 5 p.m., Deer Lake RCMP and the Cormarmac Volunteer Fire Department responded to a report of an off-road vehicle on fire near Veterans Drive in Cormarmac. The youth operating the ATV and their passenger were taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police are now reminding off-road vehicle users to put safety first and to follow the rules outlined in the Off-Road Vehicles and Highway Traffic Acts, including ensuring that youth under the age of 16 are properly supervised and to carry a fire extinguisher as required.
The NDP is calling for more transparency from government after what it calls an abundance of misinformation about access to children's health information. NTV's Mary Kate O'Neill has more.
That should never have happened. That release went out from the Health Authority without our knowledge, without the knowledge of the Department of Health, and certainly caused a lot of confusion among parents.
Premier Tony Wakeham is responding to a letter from NDP leader Jim Dinn today. That's after widespread miscommunication that stemmed from this document that was issued by Newfoundland and Labrador Health Services and posted to Facebook by a concerned parent.
There's no excuse for that. That caused alarm among a lot of people, concern around a lot of people, a lot of parents. And so what we need to do now is take the legislation that we currently have, the policies that are currently in place, make sure we review them.
Dinn says it was a very confusing time for parents and politicians alike, saying there was a lack of communication from government in the aftermath. Dinn has written Premier Wakeham calling for a transparent path forward.
And the Premier probably should have said, do what we had done, which was take a beat, take a breath, and do a little bit of background research before before issuing a statement about how suggesting that parental rights were under attack and so on and so forth. It certainly created a lot of unnecessary tension. Doctors will tell you, well, this is the way we've been doing it anyway.
Wakeham says he will write Dinn back, and his goal following this incident is to ensure parents and guardians and children's rights are protected.
So we've talked about the need to bring in legislative changes, look at what needs potentially to be changed in our current legislation. As we move from a paper system in health, for example, to a digital system, we need to look at what those changes might look like. Part of that will be consulting with all of the people that are involved to make sure we get this right, including doing a jurisdictional scan across all of the provinces to see exactly what their legislation looks like.
Dinn is stressing the word consultation and says that's a very important step in going forward with the new legislation. He warns that rushing to change legislation designed to protect children without proper consultation could result in unintended consequences that harm children. He says the Premier must provide leadership so online hate and misinformation don't spread unchecked.
My fear is that in the announcement that in the rush to try and fix the problem, you might end up doing more harm than good. So I think for this, it's important to look at maybe how the legislation came into being in the first place, and to do that analysis, if indeed it needs to be changed. Is it serving the health needs of young people as it is right now? Is there indeed somehow an undermining of parental rights? There may not be the problem that we perceive it to be. Maybe it is more of a problem of perception, but that also comes down to communication.
Mary Kate O'Neill, NTV News.
As more than 20 wildfires remain active in Labrador, the towns of Labrador City and Wabush are reacting to this week's announcement from government to provide more resources to fight wildfires. As NTV's Becky Daly tells us, the region has been calling for this for quite some time.
Wildfire season has become an even bigger concern for Labrador, and communities have been grappling with limited resources in the region. Now, with government committing to more supports, community leaders say it's about time.
They saw firsthand why we kept asking for this since 2014, that this was a very important piece of infrastructure that was taken from us.
It's not, us wanting it, it's us needing it.
Forestry Minister Pleeman Forsey made the announcement in Labrador West yesterday, which included a seasonal water bomber presence in Wabush, $66,000 for new equipment for fire departments across Labrador, 6 new wildland firefighter positions, and 2 structure protection units in Wabush and Happy Valley Goose Bay. Forsey says these supports will play a pivotal role in battling the wildfires.
The key for fire protection, Becky, I would say, is the initial first response. So, if we can have resources available and ready for the first initial response to those wildfires, that's the importance of having a quick response to protect our communities.
The need for more resources has been proven. Just this year alone, the region saw more wildfires in a short period of time than ever before. And today, they are in better shape than the last couple of weeks, but still battling 22 wildfires spread all across the region.
We're in a good place today. Most of these fires now that are out of control and stuff are in remote and rural areas. A lot of the ones that are near infrastructure and stuff has taken a good beating because of the rain. And, we still have some assets here in the region monitoring, and some other crew are still around. And I think that once after this rain stops and an evaluation is done, I think we'll get a really good picture of where we're to.
And it took a lot to get where they are today, as several resources were deployed from this province and our neighbors.
If we didn't have the support from both Newfoundland and Labrador, Halifax, New Brunswick, all of that support that came into us, I don't know where we'd be right now. 2014, Wabush evacuated, 2024, Labrador City evacuated, and we were very afraid that was going to happen this year.
The entire region of Labrador is currently showing a low fire index, and some rain in different parts has helped, but more rain is needed for a region that has been parched for too long. Forestry is expected to revisit the province-wide fire ban on July 17th, but for now, it remains in effect. Becky Daly, NTV News.
The province's oil corporation says it has received 19 submissions for the design and construction of a floating dry dock at the Bull Arm fabrication site announced earlier this year. The submissions come from companies in 4 countries. Oilco says the response demonstrates broad international interest in the project. More than half of those submissions came from companies with offices or operations in Newfoundland and Labrador. The request for expressions of interest seeks input into an early-stage engineering study to help define the scope of the project and guide its development for the future.
The Bank of Canada is keeping its key interest rate unchanged at 2.25%, noting the economy is showing signs of improvement despite months of sluggish growth. In its latest policy report, the Bank of Canada says inflation is easing and consumer spending has remained silent. However, it warns that uncertainty surrounding U.S. tariffs and the conflict in the Middle East could still slow economic growth. The Bank of Canada says housing remains weak, while lower government spending, reduced vehicle production, and a drop in oil and gas investment also weighed on the economy earlier this year. And in our business report, the TSX up 96 points to 35,416. The Venture Exchange up 14 points to 878. The Dow rose 150 to 52,659. The Nasdaq up 162 to 26,269. Gold up $4.51 to $4,057.36 U.S. an ounce. Brent crude oil up $1.07 to $85.80 U.S. per barrel. The Canadian dollar up 0.11 to 71.21 cents U.S. Fortis down 54 cents a share to $80.69. Labrador iron ore down 63 cents to $26.57, and Altius Minerals down $9.99 to $56.05.
Tonight's weather
brought to you by Chevrolet's employee pricing for you. Get up to $14,852 cash purchase credit on a 2026 Chevrolet Silverado ZR2.
I could really hear that thunder earlier. And looking at Newfoundland Power's website, there were some lightning-related outages. Well, actually, they're saying unknown now, but in the Whitburn area. So we had some power bumps here while that was happening.
We're on generator, thank goodness, because we probably would have lost power, at least for a little bit. We had a few of those bumps. Ryan Harding is here now, though, to tell us what's ahead in the forecast and if it's stopped. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, last night we talked about really three things. We'll call it two and a half. The wind, the rain, we got that. We can see the chance of T&L. Townsend lobster. Now, by thunder and lightning, which we are hearing and seeing in some areas at 15 degrees in the metro region. But if you're with us last night, said, the chance is there, the ingredients are there. Wasn't too sure if that would be warm enough on that south wind end to really clash with that cooler north wind that we're seeing in some areas cutting right across, but as it turns out, it was enough, and we're seeing it come to fruition here now. A little bit of humidity in the air today into tomorrow as well. We'll get into all those details and more, but first want to show you a few of your photos. We're going to start down where it all began last night. Look at this. Let me tell you who this is. Now this is Jax, Lincoln, and Thomas playing chicken with the rain in Port aux Basques. Yeah, sure, get the lines out. Why not? Look at the dark clouds, though. Look at the difference between the right and the left side of the screen there. As that moved in from the west, we're seeing it come up now even from the south, and we'll get into all that, where, what, when in just a moment. But a lovely photo, Morgan. Thank you for sending that. You love to see it. Over on the Bonavista Peninsula, Port Rexton. That kind of looks like this right now, actually, and we'll show you that in just a second. But this, whenever it was taken, showcasing a bit of fog, some gloominess, some dampness. Krista sending in that photo. That's just kind of the day it was. But when there's rain, there's rainbows, and we'll come full circle eventually, get some lovely shots like this. Exploits Island, Lisa sending in a reminder of what's to come once we get through what's dark out there right now, to be fair. This is quite bright. It almost looks like wintertime with the sun down outside the NTV studios right now. So that's a lovely reminder of the brightness that we're in store for a little bit later. And listen, despite the cloud cover, still a full moon out in Placentia. Have you ever seen a cloud look so much like a rear end? I tell you, maybe that's where the crack of thunder comes from. Careful, Ryan. You'll see it and hear it going over the Avalon here now, and St. Albans as well at this hour. So we've talked about this. You're looking for the tri and the quad color. The best chance of some thunder and some lightning is where you see the red, but you can get it in the orange and yellow as well. Now we're going to go from 6 to 7, and you'll see a difference. But first, we'll look at the now, where it already looks like there's Port Rexton. A little bit of fog and dampness on the horizon. We're right in the thick of it in Goobies. For Bay Roberts, that almost looks like some rain off in the distance there, and we're seeing that. We're seeing the pockets of heavy rainfall, but we saw that on the radar too, right? It wasn't all the same color in one spot. Trapassi, how are you? Good to see you. Some rain still passing through. We'll give you the totals tomorrow since we are still in it. If there was some lightning in St. John's, I don't know if you'd see it with that fog hanging there as well. But sure, look, this too shall pass. If we take a look at that wind, it passed all right. Look at Pools Island, 115. We haven't seen that since the winter. Now, that was one rogue gust pushing through. As you can see, we hit that 60 to 80 kilometer per hour mark for the eastern side. Sagona Island off the Conagra Peninsula there getting 94. Other than that, the wind on the western side came down nicely as anticipated, and we'll start to see that lighten west to east as this system does move on past. It's gusting 60 right now in St. John's, where we saw the top gust today was 74. And you can see through the overnight already on the other side of the island and pushing through to tomorrow morning. Still, a little emphasis on Cowhead through to Port au Choix. That's been pretty average over the last couple of weeks in that 40 to 50 kilometer per hour range. And what we're seeing is a southeast wind eventually turns southwest over the eastern side, and that's going to help with some temperatures. But before that, let's get back into the next hour or so, where we can see those colors out the other side definitely by 9 p.m., but really by 7:30, we should start to hear those rumbles move further and further away. Then just some light passing rain, and we can see the skies open in the Terra Nova area. Still some cloud over the Burin Peninsula, and with that south-southwest wind, some fog still clinging to that southern portion of the Avalon. We'll see through the midnight hour much of the same. Just a chance of a light drop or drip here or there, and that what you see to the east of the Avalon, that's just going to bypass us tomorrow morning. Maybe leave a light drop or two off as it moves into the distance, and then we get on with the day. And look at that, opening up wide. There's the southwest wind that's going to help warm things up. 22 degrees, sun and cloud for St. John's, that daytime high. Where else we still have some of this to fall is parts of central, moving up through Twillingate and Fogo, out through the Kittiwake coast as well. 10 p.m., just clinging on there. Twillingate through to Fogo Island, and then that's out the other side as well. You can see all the fog opportunity with those green dots passing on the south side. But as we roll into tomorrow, yeah, the clouds open up, and we're going to have partly cloudy conditions west coast through to central tomorrow afternoon. But because of what's going on in Labrador, that does bring the chance of some light rain with it, so some light scattered showers. And we've talked about this all the bit, and in the 5:30 as well, that big low pressure system swirl recycling the rain through. We'll see it into tomorrow across Labrador, just kind of passing sun and cloud opportunities with some scattered showers. But you can see as that comes downward, it not only cools the temperature down, but drops that rain back into that cycle, and that's where you're likely to see the scattered showers across parts of the island through to tomorrow afternoon. We'll do a little bit of a deeper dive the next time we get together. Michael, Tony Marie.
All right, thanks so much, Ryan. A new chapter is being written in the long history of the cod fishery in Newfoundland and Labrador. Officials in Ottawa are opening up the fishing, hiking the total allowable catch another 55% this year. They hope it can pump new life into rural communities across our province. As NTV's Garrett Barry explains, one business says there's a window of opportunity for Newfoundland product.
We have the skins over here.
At Icewater Seafoods in Arnold's Cove.
So we sell basically all the fish that we buy.
It's all of the cod and only cod. A mix of hands and high-tech machines transform raw catch into ready-to-ship products that are filling a new void in Europe where local catch rates are falling.
The world supply of North Atlantic cod has changed significantly in the last 5 years.
A dedicated cod plant, Alberta Wareham's Icewater, outlived a 32-year-long commercial ban on northern cod fishing in Newfoundland, surviving by importing fish to process. Now, all of these fish are Canadian caught, and this processing plant remains a major lifeline in the small town of Arnold's Cove.
No, if this place, God forbid, ever shut down, I mean, where's 300 people going to get a job in rural Newfoundland? No way it could happen.
Wareham says there's a big moment of opportunity now, especially with catches in other international markets declining. But to capitalize, he says small boat owners like these are going to have to buy in.
We need, as the quota grows, we need fishermen to invest in cod-specific boats that can fish later into the year.
Fishermen left product in the water last year, didn't take their full share.
And it's becoming much more important. So our members are definitely interested in ensuring that fish comes out of the water this year.
Union President Dwan Street says there are catching and processing bottlenecks, but she expects they'll be ironed out as this fishery rebound continues and Newfoundland cod takes space again in a changing global market. Garrett Barry, CTV News in Arnold's Cove, Newfoundland and Labrador.
A 72-year-old Bell Island man has been issued a ticket under the Forestry Act after RCMP attended an unauthorized fire on his property last week. Police received a call of potential backyard fire on Dobbins Road Friday afternoon. Officers went to the property to find a wood-burning fire in the backyard and extinguish the blaze. The next day, police located the property owner and served him a ticket under the Forestry Act. The RCMP is reminding residents that it's your duty to understand the obligations under the Forestry Act. The whole province is currently under a fire ban. And police in southern Labrador suspended the licenses of 2 drivers after they were stopped for speeding on the Trans-Labrador Highway. On Monday afternoon, Mary's Harbour RCMP stopped a 34-year-old man after he was captured by radar traveling 133 kilometers an hour in an 80 zone near St. Louis Inlet. A couple hours later, the same officer stopped a different vehicle traveling more than 80 kilometers an hour over the speed limit near Lodge Bay. The 67-year-old driver was caught going 111 kilometers an hour in a construction zone. Both drivers were ticketed and had their licenses suspended.
Clarenville RCMP are asking for your help as they try to find missing person 43-year-old William Lockyer. Lockyer was last seen on Monday around midnight. He is believed to have left his home sometime in the morning on Tuesday. It's believed he's driving a brown 1996 Toyota Corolla with Newfoundland and Labrador license plate AZM 706. Police and his loved ones are concerned for his well-being. Lockyer is described as bald with eyeglasses and facial hair. If you have any information on the current location of William Lockyer or his vehicle, please contact Clarenville RCMP or Crime Stoppers as soon as possible. Some talent will open a star-studded Saturday night lineup at the Churchill Park Music Festival. Carla Jane Pilgrim, native of Roddington, will open for Grammy Award-winning.
For the first time in more than 60 years, human eyes have seen the wreck of Sir Ernest Shackleton's ship in the Labrador Sea.
You know, lights are on. There's really, it's opaque. There's not a lot to see, and then suddenly, the bow emerges. And you're going towards it, and it's incredible.
That's thanks to a small group of explorers led by the Canadian Geographical Society who are hoping to make a 3-dimensional model of the wreck and bring it to life for the public. The ship, known as the Quest, is a vessel on which Irish explorer Sir Ernest Shackleton succumbed to a heart attack in 1922. After Shackleton's death, the Quest turned into a sealing vessel. The Quest now sits 390 meters below the ocean surface, just 80 kilometers off the coast of southern Labrador. The CEO of the society says the Quest is heavily damaged and has since become a biological island for many fish and other sea creatures. The same team is headed to Greenland to explore the shipwreck of the Terra Nova. Still ahead in tonight's news, Sharon Snow tells us about a kids' reading program in your community. Ryan Harding has the latest in the weather forecast. And when we come back on the Inside Story, more from the NDP and PCs on accessing children's health records. This is the NTV Evening News Hour. Welcome back to the NTV Evening News Hour. Tonight on the Inside Story, we hear more from NDP leader Jim Dinn and Premier Tony Wakeham on children's health information. Dinn is calling for meaningful consultation from the government that promotes trust and public understanding.
There's obviously an assumption certainly by Newfoundland and Labrador Health Services that people in the province were aware of the legislation that's been in place, 15, 16 years right now. And it probably caused some unnecessary concern. The Premier should have known, and the Premier probably should have said, do what we had done, which was take a beat, take a breath, and do a little bit of background research before before issuing a statement about how suggesting that parental rights were under attack and so on and so forth. So one of the things we had done is about a week or two, we had managed to speak to the Child Youth Advocate, and up until that point, even the government had not spoken to her about the situation. So from our point of view, I think the Premier probably should have taken, rather than feeding into it, that sort of like that dog whistle statement, to take a breath and provide and be that provide calm. Just let's not get turn this into something which is not.
Mr. Din took the time to write us. We received a letter yesterday evening, and we will be responding, of course, back to Mr. Din. But in terms of what happened with the health authority, that should never have happened. That release went out from the health authority without our knowledge, without the knowledge of the Department of Health, and certainly caused a lot of confusion among parents.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And of course, you did send out a statement on that. I believe you have spoke to media on that in the past as well. And when it comes to that, releasing both the statement and speaking with media, Mr. Din is calling on you and your government to be more transparent. Do you believe that you have been transparent on, I guess you could call this issue?
Well, we certainly have. I think we've communicated what has happened in the past. We've talked about exactly what we're going to do, and we continue to do. I've talked about, the importance of family. The family unit is one of the most important parts of our society, of our communities. And it's important for us to make sure that we protect the rights of parents, but also make sure we protect the rights of children. And so we've talked about the need to bring in legislative changes, look at what needs potentially to be changed in our current legislation. As we move from a paper system in health, for example, to a digital system, we need to look at what those changes might look like. Part of that will be consulting with all of the people that are involved to make sure we get this right, including doing a jurisdictional scan across all of the provinces, see exactly what their legislation looks like.
Just in time for one of the busiest travel weekends of the year across the country, thousands of WestJet flight attendants could soon be walking off the job. They voted overwhelmingly today in favor of strike action, and at the top of their list of demands is better pay. Here is CTV's Andrew Johnson with the details on how it could affect you.
Canadians could be thinking, here we go again. Last summer, it was Air Canada flight attendants on strike. Now their counterparts at WestJet could ground planes as soon as August long weekend. The vote wasn't even close. 99.4% of WestJet flight attendants indicated they're in favor of a strike. More than 4,400 cabin crew members represented by CUPE could legally walk off the job August 2nd. It's estimated up to 75,000 passengers per day could be affected if that happens, which is already on the minds of travelers today at YVR.
It sucks for the travelers, for sure. But, I mean, there's also other airlines they could book with.
I'm on the workers' side. I was a Teamster for years.
The union says the main issues are wages, unpaid work, and working conditions. Specifically, CUPE says WestJet flight attendants work on average 35 unpaid hours a month, including during flight delays on the tarmac and during boarding.
The last thing we want to do is go on strike. That's the absolute last thing we want to do. We don't really have a choice. We need unpaid work addressed.
That's the same beef Air Canada flight attendants walked out over last year. They are now partially compensated for work on the ground prior to takeoff. WestJet's CEO says the airline is determined to reach an agreement, and he's confident in finding a workable outcome. If you're flying WestJet around August long weekend, it'll be tough to plan ahead for this. The union only has to provide 72 hours strike notice, so passengers won't know until the end of July whether their relaxing summer vacation could instead go sideways. Andrew Johnson, CTV News at Vancouver International Airport.
Tonight's weather brought to you by Come From Away Gander. 25 years ago, the skies closed on 9/11. This is the story of the town that opened its doors.
How you doing? Good to see you. Happy Thursday to you. We got some scattered showers across the southern region of our country, and that's all what's funneling in towards our province. More on that in a moment when we take a moment to stop in at Fort McMurray, see the 27 degrees. It's 21 in Winnipeg, a little extra cloud and rain passing through to Thunder Bay, but gone are those feels like 43 temperatures. But into Toronto at 25, the heat might have dissipated, but those fires in northern Ontario have brought the smoke into Toronto. Take a look at this. This was live shot from about 15-20 minutes ago, and you can just see the hue, hey, of yellow in that. For curious minds, that's about an 8 out of 10 on the index scale, which we can't see is in the high-risk range. You see that plus, very high risk. This is just for what it's worth. I was living in Edmonton one time where it was deemed to be a 16 out of 10 and you couldn't see the skyline at all. It was almost apocalyptic, actually. So once that smoke starts moving through, it starts covering up those buildings. It's quite evident. So more on that line of rain, though, coming through. We looked at this last night to help tell the tale of where all this rain is coming from. You can see everything just funneling down, and still into this hour, we're seeing that recycled rotation of the low-pressure system bringing rain in towards northern Labrador and back down with the north wind, only to re-enter that once again. So we can see in real time how that's affecting the island. And we take a quick look here. I don't want to bypass the chance of some showers tomorrow. We can see to the east of the Avalon with a southeast wind. That could blow some light rain into the St. John's Fermuse down into Ferryland region very early tomorrow morning. We see a spot here in Burgeo to kick off the day as well. And then the sky opens up for the most part after that 8 a.m. cloud. There we go for the sun on the Avalon. But that partly cloudy condition through central, west coast, and the south coast. Thanks to what we just watched, that line continuously coming in towards our province does bring in some dampness and some heavy clouds, so they could open up and bring in some scattered showers through the afternoon. West coast, south coast, through to central, and at times into the northern peninsula and out through Twillingate and Fogo and the Kittiwake coast. But this is what the rain has done. And you heard the mayor of Labrador City talk about what it's done for that region, all low on the fire hazard update today. And I mentioned last night that where we saw the extremes, the highs, the very highs on the eastern side of the island, after today's rain, it would probably look just like this. And in fact, it does. So we're low right across the board. But again, just a reminder, we do have that province-wide fire ban still in place. All right, let's take a quick peek now at the Friday, because I know a lot of people on the Avalon and maybe beyond coming in for that big concert. And if you look at the icon, it's going to say rain and then some. Yeah, some light rain in the afternoon. But fret not, look at this. Poof, wide open, right in time for Kesha to hit the stage. So clear skies on Friday, and I do that because when we look at the 5-day forecast, yeah, it looks like there's some rain on Friday. And in part there is, but it's light, and then sun and cloud on the Saturday at 21 degrees, which holds into Sunday. But then Sunday night into Monday, we welcome back that rain, and that's just somewhere on that board that we showed countrywide, currently making its way down to kick off next week. We're going to see it on the south coast as well. Friday and Saturday, sun and cloud. And there you see the rain opportunity on the Thursday as well. But we kind of went over that, didn't we? Where there's an option for some moments without it. And then Sunday into Monday, the rain for the south coast. And we'll put that in place for central as well. And you saw the chance there of some showers on the Thursday. We'll welcome that back on Friday, mostly through the morning, just like the eastern side, clearing up a little bit as the day goes on. Sun and cloud on Saturday, 23 degrees. We'll circle that. That looks lovely. It looks great on Saturday for the west coast as well, 21 degrees once we get past some wet moments Thursday and Friday. Looks like we're all in it together Sunday and Monday, 18 degrees across the board for the west coast for that stretch. The average in northern peninsula is about 15 degrees, isn't it? 16, 14, a couple 17s and 15 on the Monday. And again, it looks like Saturday's the day to circle on the calendar, 17 degrees, sun and cloud. Moving up into the south coast of Labrador. Yeah, some wet moments right across the board there, but it does look like tomorrow that rain's going to come later in the day, so some moments of that sun and cloud to enjoy before that. For the north coast, extra cloud on the Friday at 12 degrees, some rainy moments, some sunny moments right through to the weekend, and pick up right where we left off on Monday at 12 degrees. For Happy Valley Goose Bay, it's much the same. Yeah, we're in a little bit of a damp stretch, but we saw how that cycle is bringing that in. And for what it's worth, last summer there was nothing coming through. When we saw that same sort of airline movements, there was no cars on the highway in terms of rain. So it's nice to see a little bit here into this summer, because we all know what last summer looked like, and it's nice to see this return into Labrador as well. I'll show you quickly how that looks once more time. It's going to limit the temperatures again, 9 degrees at 10 a.m. in Labrador City there with some light rain, and that's just going to shift and move around. Very similar day tomorrow that we had today up in Labrador.
The World Cup final is set. It will be Argentina versus Spain, as Argentina just beat England 2-1 in the semi-final. The final will air live on NTV on Sunday at 4:30. Meanwhile, the American League beat the National League 4-0 last night, marking the first shutout in an All-Star game since 2013. Here are the highlights.
Let's go slider. Nice.
How about a 3-strikeout first inning, Dylan Cease?
Cease throws a scoreless inning in the All-Star game. His day was done after that. Third inning now. Riley O'Brien's pitch runs up and in on Junior Caminero. Takes it off the hand. had to leave the game immediately. X-rays were negative, and Caminero says he's fine. He's going to play on Friday. That's good news. Bottom 5, still 3-0 American League. Andy Pages.
This guy knows how to change levels, change speeds.
Of the Doyers at the dish. Grounder up the middle. Ernie Clement. Unbelievable play to get him at first. Clement led the American League in fan voting. Flashback to Game 7 of the World Series. It was Pages robbing Clement of a hit that would have won the Jays the World Series. Back to Tuesday, Clement giving a little point to Pages as he leaves the field.
Pages thought it was a base hit the whole way.
Over to another Blue Jay, Varland getting in for the 8th. First batter he faces James Wood, having a great year for Washington. Gets him looking. Part of a scoreless frame for Varland. The American League pick up their first shutout since 2013 in the Midsummer Classic. John Schneider leading the AL to the win.
We're going to take a break now, the NTV Evening News Hour, but do stay with us. When we come back, Amanda Muse is going to be here with this week's Backstage Pass, and she's going to prove to us that it's never too late to have your dreams come true.
Welcome back to the NTV Evening News Hour. On tonight's Backstage Pass, a 94-year-old man in Mobile proves it's never too late for a dream to become a reality. Here's NTV's Amanda Muse.
Oh, lifetime on the road. Lifetime.
Ted Young is the man behind Young's Wholesale, a family-run distribution business that supplied your favorite confectionery, dry goods, and snack foods to retailers and corner stores from St. John's all down the Southern Shore, from the late 1950s to the early 2000s.
Well, we are on all Conception Bay, and all upshore, up to St. Chartres, and Brow, and all St. John's, and Quadwater, and the Battery, and Poos Cove, and all everywhere, and Belle Island. Yeah.
The paved scenic trek we know today as the Irish Loop was much different in the 50s and 60s. Kilometers of dirt road, void of modern amenities.
And so we had spare tire, and they were hard to come by. It was after the war, eh? If you get a flat tire on the road, anyone behind you had to wait till you fix your tire and go away. Hard times. You can't hear I had a whole whack of them, right? That's my job. I invented them. And there's some of the vans, look. All of them are vans, right? I had nearly 20 of them. From store to store, miles away, right? And what are you going to do? We sing a song, and we used to have to stay overnight sometimes, and we sit down, light a fire by a pan, sing a few songs. And that's how I met up, me and my brother. Right?
They gave me a job as a salesman. They told me that I was a good man.
This is the Salesman Song, written by Ted and his brother Jim while on one of those lonely long road trips. And for the first time in 70 years, it's been put to music and produced for a broad audience.
Well, I was singing all my life, and the girls asked me what I want for my birthday, 94. I told them I'd like to hear my song over the radio. And I never heard it yet, but I think it's going to be.
We asked Dad what he wanted for his 94th birthday, and he said he wanted to hear his song on the radio. So my sister put out a call on social media, and Damien and Brenda, of course, reached back to us, and I mean, the rest is history.
When I returned with my van empty, sure I was the talk of the town.
To go into that character and to think about Ted and his brother and their journey back then, 70 years ago, 70 plus years ago, driving around on dirt roads with no technology, no cell phones, no computers, no iPads, no nothing, no 8-tracks, not a thing. So that's when they started writing songs back then. And they asked me to come to his party, and he was turning 94.
But I'm not supposed to be lonely. you need anyone.
Damien Follett is the voice of Ted Young, and Peter Newman with Sony Publishing recorded the song with world-class musicians in Nashville.
It's timeless. So it's just a beautifully well-written song. It's honest about a real situation, and you know, he was just telling the story a few minutes ago about how he was lonely on the road. So that's where the best stories come from. And it's also kind of cool to hear a different side of Newfoundland culture.
We've listened our entire lives to this song that Dad is sang to us as young children. Many generations, even the grandchildren know it, great-grandchildren know too. So we just love the song, and to make that not only wish come true for his 94th birthday, but to make a dream come true. It's quite special.
I got a few more songs, so I want to tell Take Me Down the Road. Yeah.
So you might go for a full album.
You never know.
The Salesman song is available on streaming platforms now. Stay tuned for what's next from the forever young Ted. With your Backstage Pass, I'm Amanda Muse.
Tonight in your community, Sharon Snow checks in with the Marjorie Muse Library about a special reading club.
Well, on a wet day such as today, the perfect place to be is right here at the Marjorie Muse Library. And tonight it's your community. Let me introduce you to Kelly, who is with the Marjorie Muse Library. We are here now in the community room. And tell us a little bit about some of the programs. There's lots of things happening at the library during the summer.
So true, Sharon. So in the summer, we pivot to our children's programming. And this summer, we have our summer reading club happening, sponsored by TD. And so we have lots of programs and activities and prizes for the children. So one thing we have is our goodie bag. And so in here we have an activity book and some activities, and we have a reading tracker. So the kids keep track of their reading, and they color in the fish, and then they bring their tracker in, and they can pick from our
chest.
Yeah, and the kids love this. And it's like last year we had 150 kids register. Now we're at 71, so we've got like another 7,500, 150 to go.
Wow, okay, so and if moms and dads and caregivers are watching this and they want to get information and they want to sign their little ones up, how do they do that, Kelly?
Well, they can call us at 737-3020, or they can go on our Facebook page. And there's always tons of information there about the program and so forth. And they can call any library in Newfoundland about this.
And I can't help but notice you have things already laid out for the children that are going to come here and take part in this program. And the crafternoon it is.
Yeah, we call them crafternoons.
And we're going to make a humpback whale.
We are. So we're going to do some, like you said, it's already cut out and organized, just so the kids can come in and access that craft right away. And we're going to glue the pieces together. And then I'm going to have like a little questionnaire at the end. Yes. And we're just going to talk a little bit about the humpback whale and ask the kids a couple of questions. And we have a little bit of takeout stuff for them to take home with them, like a little, look and search sea creature page. And yeah, so it's great. We also have, and actually it's in August, and I'm really trying to just sort of promote this, our French Tween Art Night. So we're also trying to have more programs that are in French. Because we're a bilingual country. So this is August 27th at 6 p.m.
Wonderful. And again, you can call 737-3020 for information.
That's correct. We almost forgot.
What?
The big prize.
Yes.
So if you register and you get a ticket for a big prize, and you could possibly win up to $150 worth of toys.
Oh, and I saw the prizes. They're gorgeous.
Yep. Yes, thank you. We try really hard with them.
Oh, it's wonderful. Well, thank you so much. There's a lot happening at the Marjorie Muse Library.
Oh, we keep it going, that's for sure.
That's what's happening right here in your community. For NTV News, I'm Sharon Snow.
In other entertainment news now, here is CNN's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
Hey, come on! Not without a star.
You ready for this?
No.
Here's your first look at the action comedy Mayday. Ryan Reynolds is a U.S. Navy pilot shot down in Russian territory during the Cold War, and Kenneth Branagh is the American culture-loving ex-KGB agent who tries to help him. Mayday lands on Apple TV September 4th.
Heard a rumor that you were back.
Pedro Pascal plays the cello in the first trailer for Behemoth, described as a love letter to the music of the movies and the people who make it. Olivia Wilde, Eva Victor, and Will Arnett co-star. Behemoth opens in theaters December 4th.
Stay with us while we take one more break on the NTV Evening News Hour. Ryan Harding will be back to recap the weather forecast, still looking very wet outside. And when we return, Jim Furlong will have Today in History.
Welcome back to the NTV Evening News Hour. It was on this date that a very special car was sold for the first time. Here is Jim Furlong with Today in History.
You're going to need to know this. On the 15th of July in 1903, the newly formed Ford Motor Company took its first order for a car. It was from Chicago dentist Ernest Fenning. An $850 two-cylinder Model A automobile with a back seat. The car produced at Ford's plant in Detroit. Where else? It was delivered to Dr. Fenning a week later. Henry Ford had built his first gasoline-powered vehicle back in 1896. It was called a quadricycle. At that time, he was working for the Edison Light Company. Now, Ford had attempted to manufacture cars back at the turn of that century, but was unsuccessful. In 1903, however, Ford had 12 new investors, and they formed the Ford Motor Company. It still exists. The first order, $850 for Dr. Ernest Fenning and a new car. It was this date in history. This is Jim Furlong reporting.
Birthdays and anniversaries brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation. We are the foundation that takes action so we all can take care of each other.
Beginning this evening with a beautiful photo of this lady. This is Sarah Jacobs of Westport, currently residing at the Providential Living in Bay Verte, celebrating a 92nd birthday. Happy 70th wedding anniversary to Kevin and Evelyn Cooper, living at the Acadian Village Retirement Home. Ines Brown is celebrating a big 90th birthday. Congratulations to you, sir. Happy 61st wedding anniversary going out to Clara and Ruth Burton. Happy 59th wedding anniversary to Margaret and Frank Bryan of Norris Arms South. Happy 50th wedding anniversary to Roy and Joyce Young in St. John's. Dolores and June Hocko celebrating their 64th wedding anniversary. Happy 61st anniversary to Margaret and Harvey Hunt. They are from Centerville, Wareham, Trinity. Marina and Norman Osmond of Hampton celebrating a 54th wedding anniversary. Happy 93rd birthday to this lady. This is Rhoda Drake. William and Juanita Skinner of Fortune celebrating a 55th wedding anniversary. Happy 53rd anniversary to Harold and Beverly Chalk. Emily Coates is celebrating, get this, a 104th birthday. Congratulations to you, Emily Coates. That's a wonderful milestone there. Happy 50th wedding anniversary to Clayton and Brenda Marsh. They live in Elliott's Cove, Random Island. Charles and Fanny Taylor of CBS celebrating a 59th wedding anniversary. Happy 59th anniversary as well to Elsie and Scott Peddle. They live in Chance Cove. Gloria and Boyd Morgan of Portagrave are celebrating a 54th wedding anniversary. Look at that. Still in love, I betcha. Happy 92nd birthday to Jean Skinner. Congratulations to you. Elsie and Scott Peddle of Chance Cove celebrating a 59th wedding anniversary. Happy 60th anniversary to Hector and Elaine Williams in Goulds. Hector and Doris Kane are celebrating, or Kane, I should say, celebrating a 60th wedding anniversary. Happy 52nd anniversary to Harry and Doreen Welcher of Valleyfield. Lloyd and Joan Wells are celebrating a 63rd wedding anniversary. Happy 60th anniversary to Bill and Geraldine Butt. They live in Grand Falls, Windsor. Great photo there. Almost looks like Elvis Presley, doesn't he? Albert and Barbara Clooney of CBS celebrating a 55th wedding anniversary. And finally this evening, happy 60th wedding anniversary to Al and Cynthia Lodge of Reedville.
All right, well, you were watching this, of course, so you missed it. Michael mentioned it. England, I tell you, it leaves the soccer. They find fun, dramatic ways to lose. 2-1, Argentina over England puts them in the final against Spain. That's Sunday, July 19th, right here on NTV. Is where you can watch that. Coverage starts at 2:30 p.m. for a 4:30 p.m. kickoff. Now, if you want to really party, you call into Oz FM, 709-576-6936. All you got to do is give your best goal call, like goal, and then you tune in 710, 1210, 410. If they play your go call, you're going to O'Reilly's. It is a win to get in, exclusive watch party for the finals. So Oz FM, listen, call in, give your best shot at that. Surely you can do better than me. But anyway, it has to be a fun one. A little bit of scattered showers through Central and the West Coast tomorrow afternoon. Sun for the Avalon. Michael, Tony, Marie, looking good.
I want to hear Michael's goal, but
Come
I
on,
don't know what spot right now.
I'll save it for the final.
Thanks so much, Ryan. Thanks to all of you for joining us tonight on the NTV Evening News Hour.
Stay with us. Up next on Global National, more on the Ontario wildfires. Good night.
Good night.